everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany and today we're going to talk about my November wrap-up. And guess how many books I read? Yeah, I only read 3 books in the month of November, which I may say is my lowest month of the year. But I started a new job and I am in the process of moving. Where to? It's a mystery. I'll tell you later. I'm moving states, which I honestly never thought I would do, to be quite honest. And if I did not think it was going to be that state. What a surprise. But I'm very behind on the books that I want to read, but I did read 3 of them in November. I think part of my problem is that I can't really listen to audiobooks because when I was training the people to do my job, I was constantly screen sharing and constantly talking to them. So there's no time for me to listen to my audiobooks. And now for my training for my new job, again, it's the same thing. And my new job consists of mainly like 90% meetings. Like, I'm not even joking, like my entire job is meetings. Like, it's kind of crazy, but I kind of like it, but it's also extremely exhausting. And there's a lot of planning that goes involved, and I always thought I was an organized person, but I'm not so sure anymore. So I kind of have a reading vlog that goes along with this, so I'm going to include it in here because I did record myself when I was reading these books. They're not like full, complete thoughts and vlogs, but they are little bits and pieces. So the 3 books that I read this month were Burn Our Bodies Down by Rory Power, The Troop by Nick Cutter, and The Death of Mrs. Westaway by Ruth Ware. And you know what? I think I'm just going to let the vlogs speak for themselves. We'll meet up in a minute.
It's Brittney, bitch.
We're going to be doing a reading vlog of some spooky books. I know I'm like super late, but October was really not a good month for me. I have been working a lot the past like 3-4 months. I would say ever since July, work has been insane. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I've barely posted anything since then. It's been very hard to edit and have time to read and stuff. And I've only been averaging like 8 to 9 books a month the past 2-3 months instead of my usual like 14, 15. So that's like a big book difference. So I'm kind of celebrating Halloween after the fact because I really wanted to read all of these books last month basically, but it's November now and I have to turn them into the library in a couple weeks. I have to turn them in, I think, towards the end of the month. So I'm just going to read them in whichever order I freaking feel like, and we're just gonna go with it. Also, I apologize if I look a little sweaty. I just went for a walk, which I'm trying to do at least 3 times a week, really, just to help relieve stress and get moving, because since I'm sitting literally 13 hours a day minimum working, and if I'm not working, I'm sitting on my couch for the last 30 minutes, and then I'm trying to at least walk before I go to bed. So that's what's been happening, and I can't get rid of the zit, and I just don't know what to do about it. It's been literally like 2 weeks, and it's still there. Also, aren't these little dudes so cute? They're kind of like turned around at a weird angle, which I don't know why. But that's just how I received these bad boys. Yeah, I'm just gonna do a little bit of Halloween later. So I'm not reading any of the books that I got from the library in any particular order. I'm just kind of going by what sounds good, and I've already started this book. So Burn Our Bodies Down is Rory Power's 2nd novel. I already read Wilder Girls earlier this year, and I really enjoyed it and gave it a 4-star. I'm not sure how I feel about this yet. I'm over 100 pages in. It's taking me like 4 days to get there, okay? So give me a break. It's not that I don't want to update you, it's that it takes me a while to get to update you. I've just been reading a lot slower, and I have not been prioritizing reading. It's just way too difficult with my work schedule and how emotionally exhausted I am and mentally exhausted. So this may be like a 2-week long reading vlog. Technically, by the time I'm finished with it, I don't know yet. But I'm excited to talk about this. I just don't know how I feel about it yet, but basically we're following Margot, and she lives with her mom in this little city of Calhoun, I think. I think they're like in Nebraska, pretty sure. And her mom basically has never told her anything about her entire life or her family, and she lives with her mom, and they're very, very poor. And that's kind of it. So all Margot wants to do is be with her family and find out who her family is. And essentially her mom sells like everything to the antique shop across the way from their house, so their like little apartment. And so she goes across the street to the antique shop, and she basically stole like $40 from her mom over time and then saved up money to go buy something from the antique shop. So she ended up buying like this Bible, and it had her grandmother's phone number in it. So she calls her grandmother, and then she basically decides to run away to Faline where her grandmother is. And when she gets there, there's like a giant fire on her family farm, and it kind of goes from there. So far, I'm not particularly interested, but at the same time, I really want to know what this weird family history is, because her grandmother like will not acknowledge some things, and there's definitely like some weird family history, but I just don't know what it is yet. I mean, spoiler alert, there was a girl in the fire who died that looked just like Margot. Like, it could have been her twin sister. And so Margot's really confused and conflicted because all she's ever wanted is family, but like her grandmother refuses to acknowledge that fact. And it's kind of where I'm at. Like, that's all that's happened in 100 pages. So that also in itself, I feel like is frustrating. I feel like it's taken so long to get to one place. I don't know. I feel like her books for me start really slow, and then they're like action packed. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for some action, because it's not a bad read by any means. It's just not like super fast paced. I don't know. Oh, and fun fact, I applied for a different position at my company. So I'm really hoping I get that job, because eventually I could have a more normal schedule. Because with my current position, I mean, I'm not averse to working overtime. Obviously, I mean, I worked 30 hours of straight overtime on my last paycheck. Like, I obviously have no problem working overtime. The problem is that I can't really do this and film and edit and stuff with working that much. Because when you're working like 7 to 7:30 at night, and then I have half an hour to like eat and like relax. I have like an hour basically to eat and relax, and then around 8:30 I go for a walk, and then at 9 it's like my wind down time, and that's when I go take a shower and I wind down, or I edit a video or something. So it's just been really, really tough. So I'm really hoping I get this new job. So please cross your fingers for me. I'm hoping you're back on actually like tomorrow. So that's a fun little tidbit, and I'm really excited to learn something new at my company, but I'm also just really excited to have a different position and see a different perspective on my company, because I've worked in the same position and same group for 4 years. That makes me feel really old saying that. I've been there for 4 years. So to me, it's about time to move up and basically kind of get promoted and move to a different position and learn something new. So I'm very excited for that. Okay, that's the update for now. We're gonna chat later. We'll see. Tomorrow is election day, so maybe we'll chat tomorrow. I'm not sure. But whatever you do, I just hope you went out and I hope you voted. So good for you. I already voted. I put my ballot already in the little ballot box. I always get it mailed to me, and then I drop them off whenever I feel like it and I finish my stuff. So it's very cathartic, and it feels really good to know that you voted, and no matter what, you spoke your piece. Hey guys, it's voting day, and I'm up really early, so I'm really sorry if my throat is froggy. I'm actually up even earlier than my brother. I'm up very early. I'm a little earlier than normal for even me. I woke up at like 6:15 this morning, so now we're gonna go get some coffee and start the day. Sometimes, especially on days where I know I have to get up really early for work, I will get up even earlier and treat myself to a coffee. I'm a little crampy today, and I'm also a little cranky because I just naturally woke up early, which I know I like wanted to, but sometimes it's a little annoying still, you know what I mean? So we're gonna go to Starbucks. Starbucks has been gone, and I have a very, very long day ahead of me, so please wish me luck. So as an update, I actually had like my fourth, it was like literally my fourth interview for this position. I feel like I got it, so I'm hoping to get a call from HR very shortly. So that's some good news for this Tuesday. I'm just very curious on what they're gonna offer me. So I finished Burn Our Bodies Down. I don't really know how I feel about it. I think I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars. I don't know. I'm really conflicted, but at the same time, like, I enjoyed parts of it, but the pacing for me was really off. And the things that I wanted her to explore, she didn't explore. They were dead ends, or dead, literally. Like, we couldn't explore it any further. And I'm upset. I really thought I was going to enjoy this. I gave Wilder Girls 4 stars. I really enjoyed Wilder Girls. I think it was good. But again, my problem with her writing in general is her writing doesn't, number one, connect me to the characters. And number two, it basically doesn't ever explain exactly what happens. And I don't like that. It makes me feel like you didn't think through your story and you yourself didn't know why things happened. And I'm just not okay with that. And I don't like those kind of endings most of the time. If I get answers to almost everything else, I usually can be okay with an ending that's a little bit vague or ambiguous. But in this case, I mean, I guess it ended in a way we kind of know what happened, but it was never fully explained. And I feel like the build-up for it just did not really settle with me. Like, in the beginning, it really hooked me. And then kind of towards the end, it got really good. And there was a lot of really good creepy imagery. I can never look at an apricot the same, I will say that. But overall, I just wasn't completely impressed by it, and I was expecting a lot more. And again, her writing can be very beautiful, but it doesn't connect me to the characters. And I can't even tell you what anyone's characteristic is in this book. The only thing I know is that our main character is very codependent and stubborn. And that's all I can say for her and her mom and her grandma. And maybe that's supposed to make sense for the explanation. But at the same time, I really just wish the characters weren't so, like, cookie cutter. Because they kind of were. Like, everyone was cut out / boring. And I don't really, like, no one else in the story really meant anything. That book took me, like, over a week to read. And it's, like, 340 pages long. And I'm not saying that every book that takes me a while to read I don't like, but I typically tend to read books I don't like longer because I don't really have the urge to read them. I'm not really driven to read them. Yeah, but I'm hoping this one will change. So my next book I have is The Troop by Nick Cutter, and this is a book recommended widely by a lot of booktubers, but first and foremost, my favorite Gabby Reeves recommended this, and it's like one of her new favorite books. And so far, so good. I'm only like a couple chapters in, but it's actually really disgusting, and I love it. It's really good. I'm not gonna lie. So far, it's good. I like the writing. It's pulling me in. It makes me feel like I'm right there, and that's what I need. Like, I need to feel like I'm right there in the scene. And so far, it's doing that for me. The Troop is about, you know, this troop leader that takes his troop out every year, and it's like their time to, like, reconnect with nature, blah, blah, blah. And in the meantime, there's this guy who has this insatiable hunger and is going to eat anything. And apparently it's like something that was bioengineered to be that way. So I don't really know too much at this point, but that guy has already described how he wants to eat a raccoon's carcass and how he ate napkins at a restaurant. It was very imagery heavy, and I really like it so far. I like things that are a little gross and weird, and it just kind of works for me. Hey guys, as an update, it's been about a week probably since I've talked to you. Yeah, it's slow going here with the reading, especially with how much I'm working and training new people to do my job, and I haven't even started training to do the other job I have to learn. So anyway, The Troop. I'm about 100, I think I'm 142 pages in, and so far I'm really enjoying it. I actually really liking it whenever I can get to read it, and this virus that is basically infecting people's bodies is just crazy, and I really enjoy it. And it's just something that kind of took a take on something I've seen before, and it made it a little bit different, but I really am enjoying it. It's a little Lords of the Fliesies, and different people are getting infected and having the symptoms where they just can't stop eating. My only complaint is I've seen a couple typos, and I really hate typos in books. Literally hate typos. And I've seen like at least, I think it was at least 2 or 3 I've seen. So that definitely deterred from the story a little bit, and it kind of takes you out of it because you forget that it's like a book that's being edited, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think it's very immersive so far, and I really don't like books with all men. Personally, I'm more of a woman kind of person. I prefer women's perspectives in reading, but so far I'm really enjoying a few of the characters, and also they're very, very flawed, which I'm enjoying. And a lot of them have very like gray morals, so I think that's also another reason why I'm enjoying it. So I'm hoping to give you an update a little bit sooner because this book has to be due to the library in like 4 days, so I really have to finish it up. So hopefully that'll put the fire under my ass so I can get her done. Hi guys, it has been quite a while since I've spoken to you. I think it's been a little over a week. Again, I've been having a hard time updating. I just haven't really been reading at all. Anyway, I ended up finishing The Troop, and I think I'm gonna give it a good 4 stars. I really enjoyed it, and it was very horrific. There were definitely a few parts where I actually felt kind of sick to my stomach reading it, and that does not happen for me often, and especially it didn't gross me out enough to where I wouldn't want to continue reading the book like Pretty Girls did. Like, I had a really hard time finishing that book because it made me physically very, very, very ill. But this book just definitely had some parts where I had to put it down for a minute, and I was like, ugh, okay, you should digest it. That's a bad choice of words. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. I think this was actually a really good horror novel, and the fact that it was a very good body horror novel, and it felt realistic. It felt scary enough and gave me enough anxiety because it is absolutely realistic in our society, and I don't doubt that for a damn second. So my next book on my radar is The Death of Mrs. Westaway. Definitely surprised because I'm about halfway through this so far, and I've been reading this a lot faster than I have a book in a while, and I'm actually really enjoying it. I think also my issue with Ruth Ware is I don't always like her stories, but I like her writing, and I really like her writing, and it's very easy for me to read and understand what's going on. The Death of Mrs. Westaway is basically about this woman whose mother died when she was like almost 18, and she works alone on this pier as a tarot card reader and like psychic, and she's been given an ultimatum by someone she borrowed money from, and they need the money back. They need like 3,000 pounds by next week. And then on top of that, she received a letter saying that her grandmother, Mrs. Westaway, died, and she can come basically sit in for the will reading. And so she's like expecting this money from this long lost grandmother, who obviously, you know, she realizes she probably actually isn't related to her, but there's a part of you that thinks that she may be related to her because a lot of the stories matching up to what the family has told her about their long lost sister. So I don't know yet. I don't know what's going on yet, but I like that I don't know what's going on yet. This reminds me a little bit of Knives Out, if you've seen the movie. I really enjoyed that movie. And it's reminding me a little bit of that because it has to deal with like the will and the house and fighting between family members. So I'm just not really sure who to trust at this point too, but I'm really liking the buildup. So far, I've really enjoyed it, and I've kind of flown through it. I've only sat down and read it like 3 times, and I'm already that far in because it's definitely a very easy, quick read, but I feel like Ruth Ware does that for me a lot. Even if I don't end up enjoying the story, it's a quick, easy, nice read, and I like the reading part of it. But I don't always like her endings a lot of times, and I don't really like some of her characters. I don't really get like, you know, attached to a character, but I'm definitely feeling a little bit more for this character. And the reason I read another one of her books is everyone said that this was one of her best ones. So I'm looking forward to this being maybe a 4-star. That would be wonderful. The highest I've ever rated one of her books was a 3. I think I gave both The Woman in Cabin 10, and The Turn of the Key both 3 stars. And then I gave her other one, The Lying Game, 2 stars. Didn't really like that one. But her writing's always really good. It's just I don't always like the stories or the characters. You know, it just doesn't work. There's some authors that just have things that you like, and I really, really like her writing, so I'm just gonna go with it. So those were a humble jumble of videos, but let me give a nice little summation for you, especially because there's only 3 books. I don't mind going into a little bit more detail. But for Burn Our Bodies Down, I ended up giving this 2 stars, and I was really kind of unimpressed with it, and I was really expecting something pretty miraculous and unconventional and unique coming from Rory Power, because her first book, Wilder Girls, that I read earlier this year, I really enjoyed. I gave it 4 stars. There were definitely some things that I would have tweaked about it, but the story was there. It had some really good bones, but I wished some things were more illuminated on. And for this story, it's like that times 100. Like, I just really wish things were better explained / more interesting, because I think I just didn't really connect with the character. I did in the beginning. For like the first couple of chapters, I was really sucked into the story. And then as soon as like we got to the small town, like it just seemed so bland. Like there was no personality in it at all. It started off really interesting with this crazy codependent relationship between a mother and a daughter. And then it led into, you know, trying to find her grandmother, who is her only like living family that she knows about. And she's going to try to find her grandmother, and she does, but it's not interesting or titillating or thrilling. It just was not what exactly I was expecting. And I'm kind of sad because it had such an interesting premise. I really do like the country issues, country living. I really kind of enjoy that kind of stuff. I don't know if I can better describe that, but I was definitely a bit disappointed. It gave it a good 2 stars, but I mean, I guess I would recommend it. I know it wasn't a terrible book. It just really let me down. For The Troop by Nick Cutter, I gave this a good 4 stars. I actually really enjoyed it. I know it's one of Gabby's favorite books that she's read this year, or maybe it was last year. I don't remember, but I know that that's who to me recommended it to me. And I really did enjoy The Troop. I'm not a big fan of male-only books. I really prefer female perspectives, or at least like, I need a little more of an interesting cast. I just have a hard time with all men movies or something too, like Ocean's 11 or whatever the heck those are called. I just am not interested in male characters. Like, it just, I don't know. They just don't do it for me. It's the same thing when I'm playing my Sims. I only tend to like to play the women, and I'll literally make the men to like look nice and then go to work and make money. Like, I just don't have any other use for them. That's terrible, but I mean it. It's true. And when it comes to reading, I don't mind things from men's perspectives. I just need them to be more likable. I just feel like men especially, like I have a really hard time connecting to their personalities in literature. I really liked a lot of the creepy aspects of the story. The body horror is very intense. If you have a body horror issue, I would not recommend this. It actually made me a little nauseous at a couple points. Like, it wasn't meaning to be overly gratuitous. It didn't feel like Karen Slaughter just putting in another jab to like make you feel sick. It actually was relevant to the story, but it's just such a horrific thing to happen that it's kind of disgusting. So I'm not gonna lie, body horror was really gross and really good at the same time. I also liked all the multimedia in that book. There's a lot of little clips and news things. And I think this would be also a really good audiobook because of that. I think that really varies up stories and makes it interesting to listen to and more like a podcast. And I think that that was definitely a really strong point in this book. So it was a very strong 4, maybe 4.5 for me. I really liked it. I wouldn't really particularly change anything about it. You know, I just wish, like if this was all females, I think I would have rated it a smidgy higher. Or it had some more females in it. Like, I don't know. I feel like it just makes the cast a little one-sided for me. I like a good mix of both. Same thing for Wilder Girls. You know, when I was reading that, it's all girls, which is fine. But sometimes I still like I feel like men and women together like vary up a story. So I do like that. I feel like this is the perfect book to scare like a 13-year-old boy, though. If he's reading it, he'd be scared out of his fucking mind. The last book that I read this month was The Death of Mrs. Westaway, and I surprisingly and unsurprisingly gave it 3 stars. I tend to rate Ruth Ware's stories 3 and under. I've never given any of her stories a higher rating. I just don't really feel the need to. They're good, solid books. There's nothing overly spectacular or memorable about them to me. I mean, I do remember the stories. I've remembered every single story of hers that I've read. So it's not like they're not memorable, but they're not like, I'm not yearning to tell people about what happened. The Death of Mrs. Westaway was very atmospheric of like a gothic home, and I really enjoyed that. We're following our main character, Hal, and Hal is basically broke as hell and being followed by men, just like loan sharks who she owes money to. She owes this money to these peoples and she needs to pay them back. And she gets this like crazy letter that's saying that he needs to come to like an inheritance hearing for a dead grandmother. And that's kind of how the story starts. And then it gets a little spooky. There's some family issues. I saw a lot of it coming, but I'm glad it was well explained. And I did enjoy the ending. But again, like it kind of wraps up okay and it's good, but it's not, I don't know. I feel like her books kind of play out like Nancy Drew stories for me. But I also like that aspect because I can kind of tell usually who it was and it makes sense and it's slightly predictable, but not in a bad way. It definitely keeps my interest. This one was kind of a slower one of hers. I would definitely say this has a slower burn than some of her other books that I've read, for sure. I feel like one day I'm going to finish all her books. I think I have like 1 or 2 left that I haven't read. And I think when that happens, I'm going to make a video rating all of the Ruth Ware books. They're all like 3 or 2 stars. So honestly, I think 3 of them are 3 stars and then one of them's a 2-star. And I think, obviously I know that 2 stars is going to be in the last, but I think in between it might be kind of hard for me to rate them. So I'm excited to try that one day, but I need to finish the other 2 first. I know the other 2 seem to have really bad reviews and no one seems to like them. So I'm not expecting those to be high ranks, but I need to move and get those from my new library because I'm basically stopping requesting all my books from my current library because I know I'm not going to have a chance to read them. A lot of them are higher up on wait lists and I know that I'm not going to get to them in time, and I already have a few library books here at my home that I need to read before I leave, and I'm reading way slower than I used to because I'm not reading on my lunches. I'm not reading really at night as much. It's a struggle. So anyway, that's all I have to say about those 3 books that I read this month. I'm very proud of myself for making a wrap up and getting it out to you in a slightly timely manner. Thank you so much for watching, and comment down below if you've read any of these books or if there's any books that you want me to read. I'm definitely making a list for 2021, so let me know down below. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.